Healthcare is at the top of my constituents' list of concerns, so I strongly support putting into legislation this record investment into the NHS. And on Friday I went to see for myself the improvements that are taking place. And what came across to me was the passion of the staff. People proud of the improvements they've delivered for their patients, but who want to continue that journey and take the hospital out of special measures. And as their MP, I pledge my support for them. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn serves over 300,000 people across Norfolk, Cambridgeshire and Lincolnshire. In the 40th anniversary of a hospital only built to last 30 years, does my right honourable friend agree that the dedication shown by staff in responding to coronavirus deserves to be recognised by including the Queen Elizabeth in our new hospital building programme?
I'm sure that he will understand that further long-term solutions are now under active consideration.
Focus on the NHS and infrastructure is welcome, and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn is on the front line of dealing with COVID, and it's 40 years old but was built only to last 30 years. So will my right honourable friend look seriously at the compelling case for QEH to be one of the 8 additional hospitals to be built on top of the 40 announced today?
Well, Mr Deputy Speaker, I look forward to hearing from my honourable friend about the plans that he has and the ambitions for his local hospital. I know the Secretary of State for Health will also be interested. He will know how committed we all are to improving our hospitals and having new ones across the UK. There's funding for that today, but I'm happy to discuss further.
Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn is at the heart of our local community, but it's in need of urgent modernisation, with cracks in the concrete roof, most recently leading to the closure of the physiotherapy gym. So with his enthusiasm for building hospitals, can my right honourable friend offer the people of West Norfolk hope and back our bid and build our future hospital? The Queen's speech pledges to increase investment in the NHS, and my constituents are particularly focused on the new hospital building programme. As one of the best buy hospitals, the Queen Elizabeth in Kings Lynn was built with a life expectancy of 30 years. Now in its 41st year, QEH is in need of urgent modernisation due to major structural issues. QEH is a compelling case to be one of the 8 additional schemes that the Prime Minister has committed to. So I'd be grateful if my honourable friend could update the House on when the selection criteria for those schemes will be issued. So I urge the Government to back our bid to deliver the hospital that patients and staff deserve. I share my right honourable friend's commitment to build back better, to build back greener and to level up. And I have a project that will deliver on all those things, rebuilding the ageing Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Kings Lynn. I've shown him the pictures of the 200 props holding up its decaying roof. So will the Prime Minister make the Queen Elizabeth one of the 8 new schemes giving people in Norfolk, Lincolnshire and Cambridgeshire the hospital they need?
Mr Speaker, I know that my honourable friend does a huge amount of work for his constituents. I have seen the pictures that he describes, and I can tell him that the application is in from the hospital in his constituency. It is under consideration.
I'm here at QEH, where I've just been seeing some of the improvements that are being made to the hospital thanks to the £20.6 million of investment that the government's making here. I've seen a new outpatient unit, the Emerson unit, taking shape, which will offer a better experience for patients and staff. And behind me is the site where the £12 million endoscopy unit that's going to be opening in the spring is going to be. So some real improvements happening at the hospital. The campaign for a new build continues, but these changes with that funding will help deliver a better service and a better experience for patients and staff. I beg to move that this House has considered the quality of care and the estate of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Kings Lynn. I'm very grateful to Mr Speaker for granting this important debate that gives me the opportunity to highlight the significant improvements at QEH while once again making the compelling case for it to be one of the new hospital schemes the Government is committed to building.
This House has considered the quality of care and the estate at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Kings Lynn. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, the focus of this debate of making Britain the best place to grow up and grow old also includes access to healthcare. It will come as no surprise to ministers that I return to an issue I raised in my maiden speech in the first Queen's Speech debate in this House, and indeed in last year's Queen's Speech and on many other occasions, namely the pressing need for a new hospital for the Queen Elizabeth in Kings Lynn. QEH is now more than a decade beyond its planned 30-year lifespan, and due to the rack concrete planks, it now has 1,500 timber and steel supports holding up the cracking roof. Due to this concrete cancer, the Trust Risk Register has a red rating for direct risk to life.
And I also listened carefully when we were talking about NHS investment from my honourable friend from North West Norfolk, who I think made a very powerful case.
Underlines how vital leadership is to drive change and improvements in care. And I want to put on record my thanks to the Chief Executive and the Board of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital Trust in King's Lynn, who've taken that hospital out of special measures thanks to the hard work of the staff. But as he knows, to continue to improve care, to retain and recruit staff, there's a pressing need for a new hospital at the QEH. So can I urge my right honourable friend to make an announcement on the new hospitals programme and to back QEH's bid? Welcome the Minister to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to see the cracking rack concrete which the department understands needs to be replaced. So will he take the opportunity to build a new QEH hospital fit for the future, and when will the patients and staff at QEH know they are on the list? I return to a familiar theme of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn, which currently at the last count had 3,000 timber and steel supports holding up the cracking cancer concrete rack roof. What's your message to staff and patients who are desperate for confirmation that it will be part of the new hospitals programme? And I welcome the commitment in my right honourable friend's statement to the new hospitals building programme, and given the statement by the Secretary of State for Health yesterday that he would deal with the concrete cancer, which means that the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in my constituency has 3,000 props holding up its roof, will he reassure people in North West Norfolk that the government will make the urgent decisions to build a new QEH? I warmly welcome the priority that my right honourable friend has put on resolving the serious rack concrete issues at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, but a decision on this was due in the spring. Well, Christmas is coming, and the only question people in North West Norfolk have is when we get the present that everyone wants of a new hospital for the staff and patients. Norfolk and Waveney has already received £11 million to tackle discharges, which is making a difference. However, today there are 128 patients in the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn who do not need to be there. So in welcoming this additional funding, don't these pressures also underline to the Treasury the long-term importance of investing in modern hospitals able to meet demand, and the case for including QEH in the new hospitals programme? Now, people living in those areas are served by the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn, and this hospital has nearly 3,400 steel and timber supports holding up its cracking concrete roof, and it desperately needs to be replaced. And the new hospital programme offers a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform the QEH to deliver modern, fit-for-purpose facilities and to support people to live healthier lives. And the Health Secretary has stated that dealing with rack hospitals is his priority, and I welcome the focus that he's brought to solving this problem. And so I call on the government to give the certainty to my constituents, patients and staff, that the QEH will be rebuilt by 2030. Given the serious condition of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn, does the Chancellor agree with me that it's better value for money to build a new hospital rather than patch this one up? And will the Treasury back the Department of Health's plan to do just that and include it in the new hospital programme?
Well, as we discussed when we met 2 weeks ago, this is a top priority for us to resolve the profile of spending for the hospitals like his, the rack hospitals that need that urgent work, and we're working on it very quickly. But I wouldn't want to steal the thunder of the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, who will make those decisions ultimately.
When my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, joined me at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn, he saw the new West Norfolk Eye Centre, which is enabling an extra 2,000 appointments and 2,000 more injections every year to help deal with the backlogs. And doesn't that just demonstrate the difference that new buildings can make to better patient care and underline the importance of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital being added to the government's new hospitals building programme, which I know the Secretary of State is working hard to achieve? Given that the Chancellor has protected the new hospitals budget, can I express the huge frustration of my constituents at delays in the announcement that the rack-ravaged Queen Elizabeth Hospital in King's Lynn will be part of the programme, and urgent decisions are announced as soon as possible? It's fantastic news that the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is now one of the new hospitals this government is committed to building, and I'm delighted that the case that I've been making with very strong local support has been accepted. So on behalf of my North West Norfolk constituents and everyone at Team QEH, can I offer huge thanks to my right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, for the determination he's shown to resolving the rack safety issues, and will he confirm this is a fully funded plan so there will be a fit for the future hospital in King's Lynn by 2030?
Well, I pay tribute, Mr Deputy Speaker, for the work that my honourable friend has done to champion the case for Kings Lynn. He has raised this issue with me and the ministerial team on a very regular basis. He has been compelling on that issue, and I'm very happy to confirm, as set out in the statement, that this will enable Kings Lynn to be rebuilt, and that is fully funded.